the narrative that they're pushing, that they're using to this day to push this hatred and war on police is simply not true. And as long as they can't accept the reality, they're never going to make any kind of positive impact because they're pointing the finger outward at everybody else instead of looking within their own communities at the issues.
Jennifer Burke, the editor-in-chief of Politistic.com, on this program yesterday, discussing the ongoing rift between the Black Lives Matter movement and law enforcement officials. Meantime, in Ferguson, Missouri, a state of emergency declared last night as officers in riot gear attempted to control the crowd of people on the streets. At one point, the police department tweeted, "Officers are being hit with rocks and bottles. We continue to support free speech, but agitators who ignore orders to disperse risk arrest." For more on this, we welcome in via Skype from New Jersey, former New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik. Bernard is also the author of the best-selling book, From Jailer to Jailed. Also joining us from our Newsmax TV newsroom, Niger Innis, who is the executive director of the TeaParty.net. Niger, a year has passed since the death of Michael Brown, but there's still a lot of outrage in Ferguson. Why so much unrest 1 year later?
Well, let's be careful here. I don't know how much outrage is being represented by those riots in the streets. The fact of the matter is if you've got a bunch of vultures coming in from places like New York and California and different parts of the country that are coming into Ferguson like locusts. You've got powerful billionaires like George Soros that are funding the Black Lives Matter campaign. And quite frankly, they're doing a disservice to the people of Ferguson. I've been to Ferguson. Me and Dr. Alveda King, a guest on your show in the past, went to Ferguson last year. We met with Democrat and Republican officials, with the police chief and others, and these people want peace, quiet, and tranquility in that community. Let's not confuse these anarchists from the outside with the real people and the legitimate concerns of the people of Ferguson.
Bernie, what's your assessment of the situation in Ferguson?
Yeah, you know what? I think Niger called it right what it is. The reality is most of the insiders, the instigators, the people that go out there and they're trying to destroy the community, they're attacking the cops, they're shooting up a police van. Those are not community people from Ferguson. They're outsiders. I think the people of Ferguson got an enormous amount of response from the city, from the police over the last year. They got a new police chief. They got some new city council people. They have new interaction with the police department. They're trying to rebuild a community that was shattered, that was torn down. And on this first anniversary, that should have been a peaceful protest, something to, remember Michael Brown, remember what caused this whole thing. That didn't happen. You had these instigators and insiders come in and start to tear up the community like they did last year.
Bernie, in response, the Oath Keepers, described National Organization of Current and Retired Military and Law Enforcement Personnel, they're in Ferguson as well, and apparently they're armed. Will their presence help or hurt the situation?
Well, I think the response has to be adequate, for what it is. This is, for the most part, a civil disturbance, civil disobedience. These rioters, they're throwing rocks. We don't have to be out there with, machine guns and counter-assault vehicles and all this other stuff. But I have to tell you, the cops don't get paid enough to go out there and get hurt. They don't get paid enough to go out there and have somebody bombard them with rocks and frozen water bottles and all this other garbage. And the other night, 2 nights ago, you had somebody shoot up or attempt to shoot up a van that the police were in. They returned fire. That guy wound up critically injured. They don't get paid to get hurt. So they have to protect themselves, and they have to make sure that the community's protected as well.
Niger, I want to talk to you because I'm not sure people understand the family connection. Your dad has been the national chairman of the Congress of Racial Equality since way back in 1968. Now, you compare CORE with the group Black Lives Matter. Are the differences akin to night and day?
Absolutely, between night and day. And by the way, it was night and day back then between the Congress of Racial Equality and I guess the precursors of Black Lives Matter, the Black Panthers, and some of these other radicals. You know, while these radicals and many times communist elements or communist-inspired elements, you know, the Black Panthers used to walk around with Mao's little red book. These guys are about burning, burning, burning. You know, burn, baby, burn was the chant. Well, Roy Innis's, and that's the chairman of the Congress of Racial Equality, and my dad, his chant was build, baby, build. And we were always about doing something positive, about making a positive connection between the police and the law enforcement community. The only thing that my father was protesting in those days about the police is that he wanted more blacks on the police force.
And that raises a good question with the 30 seconds that remain, Bernie. Ferguson has tried to make strides in terms of black police officers, but apparently to no avail based on the past couple of nights.
Well, listen, they're doing the best they can, you know, but the reality is people have to abide by the law. And nobody knows that better than Roy Innis and Niger Innis. These guys have been around for years. They have done tremendous things for the black community. You know, people should be listening to them, not these other radicals, not these lunatics that are out there creating problems and inciting riots.
And we will have to leave it there. Bernie Kerik in New Jersey, Niger Innis from our newsroom. Gentlemen, you have our thanks. Now, you heard what Bernie and Niger had to say. I'd very much welcome your comments. The best place to send them, newsmaxtv.com/comments.